What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. I just uploaded a video before discussing the full Sugo-Fest structure of the Capone Sugo-Fest, so if you guys have not seen that, make sure to go ahead and check that out for the full breakdown of the Sugo. But in this video, this is the more important video where we are fully discussing the brand new Sugo-Fest batch, which is going to be the Capone batch. And I said before in my previous video as well, really looking forward to this batch, man. This batch is, well, the rare recruits themselves, I wouldn't say they're like the most OP or powerful rare recruits or most useful or most necessary characters you need to get a hold of. But the whole reason I really want to be pulling here is because of the big boy himself on the banner, my man Capone Bege. So we are going to be going through every single one of these rare recruits in this video, starting off with the rare recruits, and then we'll finish off with the Legend Capone. So starting off, we have Gotti. So here we have Gotti, the collaborator in the Emperor Assassination Plan. This guy is a quick shooter-driven character. His stats after his limit break: 2870 health, 1528 attack, 329 recovery, with a captain effect that he's going to boost shooter and driven characters' attack by 2.5 and give them a 1.2 times HP boost. Nothing really too crazy. It is nice to see the health boost though, you know, just a slight health boost, but for the most part, pretty average captain effect. Special ability, obviously the main component of these characters, 13 turn cooldown after you max him out and max his limit break. He'll go ahead and greatly reduce a portion of each enemy's dealt damage that exceeds 5,000 for 3 turns. So that's the same sort of effect that Raid Bartolomeo has. I'm not really too sure of how much he reduces damage above 5,000. I would assume it's at least 90%, maybe a bit more. But either way, that's a pretty decent effect. It actually works really well with Capone because the way that Capone is structured, Capone has an effect where he basically reduces your health, and when you reduce your health, you want to try and get your health back up. And this is a good way to make sure that you don't lose too much health upon recovering your health back, or it's a good way to mitigate the amount of damage that you take so that you can maintain a lot of health, so that you can make sure that Capone's special ability will enable you to get more health bar for his Big Father effect. And if you don't know what Capone does, we'll get to that in a little bit. You guys will fully understand what he does. But on top of the damage reduction effect, he also changes all of your slots randomly, including block, to type slots, which is also very good to manipulate the type slots to other orbs. And if the enemy has a barrier when you activate the special, he will make shooter characters type slots have matching slot effects for 3 turns. So that is extremely useful to have. So if you are in that situation where the enemy does have a barrier, this guy is going to be amazing for that particular fight, giving you basically a full board of matching orbs, which is pretty sick. Obviously it only works for shooter characters, but it works very well for the shooter team specifically, and just the damage reducing effect will be quite useful here and there as well. In terms of his crewmate effects, the first one will make his own quick slot is carried over to the next turn when you hit a perfect with him, so that's not too bad. And also makes shooter characters quick orbs have matching slot effects. That is such a useful effect. I think the only other character that does that is limited rare recruit Doflamingo, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think he does the exact same ability as well. He's going to be very useful for shooter teams specifically, of course. For his potential abilities, he has the slotbind resistance up to 5 turns, and he also has barrier pierce up to 50% of his health, and then you can always bypass the enemy's barriers, so that's quite useful to actually have. But in terms of overall, just like looking at him as a character, he's not a character that you need, really. He's not a character that's going to carry you through content. He's not that type of unit, but he's nice to have. It is nice to have the variety there, where if there is an enemy that does have a barrier, this guy's going to be an amazing unit to have, and allowing you to get orbs much easier on shooter-based teams. Moving on to the next rare recruit, we have Phantom Gun Vito, and this character is a Dex shooter driven character. This character with max limit break has 2,650 health, 1545 attack, and 360 recovery. His captain effect is going to boost shooter characters attack by 2.5 and give Dex orbs as beneficial to those characters as well. Very sort of similar effect to the Gotti character that we just talked about. He's still a 2.5 booster. Nothing too crazy there. Special ability also maxes at 13 turns, and he'll go ahead and reduce one enemy's HP by 20%, which is quite nice. Health cuts are always good. Changes top row character slots to character's own type, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And also reduces all enemies' defense up, which is the blue shield, and damage reduction, which is the rainbow shield, duration by 3 turns. So that's also, like, that's really good utility right there. And if there are 6 shooter characters on the crew, gives you 90% damage reduction for 1 turn. Again, damage reducing effects, very nice for Capone teams, but the fact that he makes your captain's orbs go into matching, that is so freaking good, because that will allow you to then go ahead and use a character like, let's say, Treasure Map Boa Hancock, which recently came out on Global, and because Capone, if you do get him, he'll be an int character, he'll have an int orb, and that works perfectly for the Treasure Map Boa Hancock, allowing you to get a 2x orb boost and a 1.75 conditional boost that is self-procking. All with, you know, Treasure Map Boa Hancock by herself. So this character and Boa works so well with Capone. That is a great combination that you can do. And the fact that he also provides a 20% health cut as well. Like, that's also just extremely useful to have. And just, he has really good utility as well, reducing 3 turns of arguably the most annoying defensive abilities to get around, being defense up and damage reduction. There are lots of characters that remove that, but as well as the other things that he does, this character works really, really well. In terms of his sailor abilities, his first one is going to be completely immune to remove SFX, which is the blindness effect if your captain is a shooter character. Very, very useful to have, and also makes shooter characters' dex orbs have matching slot effects. Like, this character just works so well with Capone. I believe another character that makes dex orbs beneficial for shooters is the Stronghold Ace. I think Stronghold Ace does that with his limit break. So that's also quite good, because Stronghold Ace just got his limit break on Global, so you can go ahead and do that. So, yeah, I think Vito's really good. If I wanted either Vito or Gotti, I think I would definitely take Vito 100% of the time, just in terms of what he can do for your team. Moving on to the next one now is going to be Caesar Clown, or Gastino, Gangster Gastino, of course. Now, the weird thing about this character is that he is not a shooter character, so he doesn't really gel well with the rest of the batch. So he is a slasher cerebral character, also a dex unit, and he will go ahead and max out at 3,111 HP, 1495 attack, and 297 recovery. His captain effects will make slasher and cerebral characters' strength and dex orbs have matching slot effects, and will also boost their attack by 2.75 until a character lands a non-perfect strike. So if you guys are very familiar with version 1 Doflamingo, every time you hit a perfect, like, you're just going to keep maintaining your really high attack boost, but then as soon as someone hits a good, a great, or a miss, then you lose all of your attack and you have 0 time or 1 times boost for the rest of the turn. Very high risk, high reward. Well, it's not even a high reward. It's just like a high risk, mediocre reward at this point. Not a very good captain effect, but a 9-turn cooldown for his special effect. He poisons all enemies, which makes sense considering he's a Caesar Clown character. And if your captain is a slasher or a cerebral class, boost damage dealt to poison or venom characters by 1.75 for 3 turns. That is very useful to have. Obviously, doesn't work very well with the shooter batch, but on slasher and cerebral teams, that's pretty freaking cool. You know, there are a lot of enemies that do have the ability nowadays to block poison, so that's not going to be always good. But a self-procking 1.75 conditional booster for 3 turns, that's a hard to pass up. That's still a very useful effect to have. Would have been nice if he had some sort of utility-based effect as well, but, you know, you can't really complain with a 3-turn self-procking conditional boost. Pretty awesome. In terms of his crewmate effects, his first one will give 75 attack to slasher and cerebral characters, and his secondary one will give you an additional tap timing bonus of 2 times his original attack on top of tap timing bonus. So that's a pretty nice effect to have as well. Again, it's still not a character that you need to get a hold of, but, you know, it kind of just enhances the usability of slasher and cerebral teams specifically. Moving on to the last rare recruit of the batch, before we talk about the big boy himself, we're going to have Charlotte Chiffon. So, Chiffon is a shooter fighter psi unit, and she maxes out at level 99 with max limit break with 2320 HP, 1311 attack, and 493 recovery. So her attack value and her health value are relatively low compared to a lot of rare recruits nowadays, but she more than makes up for that with her abilities. So her captain effect will boost the crew's attack by 1.5, pretty bad, but then greatly reduces damage taken when HP is full. Again, not really that good. But then talking about her special, the special is the main reason why you'd use this character. Maxes out at 16 turns, so it's a very high cooldown for what she does. However, you can see it is multi-stage, which always helps out. So for stage 1, she reduces bind or special bind, despair, paralysis, and attack down by 1 turn, and heals the crew by 3 times her recovery at the end of the turn for 3 turns. That is okay, but 1 turn of special bind, despair, paralysis, attack down. There aren't that many circumstances where you only need to remove only 1 turn of it. However, for her stage 2, which maxes out at 16 turns as we said, which is quite a long stall time, reduces special bind, despair, paralysis, attack down by 3 turns instead, which is much more usable, and then heals the crew by 10 times her recovery at the end of the turn for 3 turns. So this is definitely a character you want to feed recovery candies to. Means that you will heal much more when you activate her special ability. And if your crew has a this ability, which is the damage threshold, which if you guys do not remember, this character, right, this ability that Gotti has, the ability where he reduces a large portion of damage above 5,000, that specific effect will inflict the buff on your crew as a damage threshold. So yeah, that's what damage threshold is. And then she also says if they have that, damage reduction, which is the rainbow shield, you know, reduce damage by 90% as what Vito did. So that, or if you have a resilience effect where you do not die above a certain HP threshold or something, if you have that active on your crew when you activate the special, she completely recovers your health back to full. That's pretty freaking cool as well, and again, works very well with Legend Capone, which we'll talk about very soon. So this character is great. Like, this is the best character of the batch by far, in my personal opinion. The amount of utility you get healing. Great, this character is just amazing to have. And then in terms of her ability, she reduces special bind on herself for 3 turns. Obviously makes sense considering she is a unit that removes special bind. So if she didn't have that sailor ability, she would be much more worse. And then her secondary one will give shooter characters 75 attack when your HP is full. So that is a little bit of a mediocre crewmate effect. It would have been nice if it was just a flat 75 boost, but you can't complain, you know, she does have a very good special ability, so it is what it is. So now that we have discussed all of the rare recruits of the batch, let's get to the big boy himself, which is Capone Bege, man. This guy, I love the artwork too. The artwork is so clean on this guy. So this guy, int, shooter driven character, max level at level 99. He has 4,809 HP, 1771 attack, and 253 recovery. So that's freaking awesome. So in terms of his captain effect will boost shooter characters attack by 3.75 and then give them a 1.35 health boost. And yellow and purple orbs are going to be beneficial to shooter characters. So stopping right there, that's a freaking awesome captain effect, because that is a full unconditional 3.75 times attack and 1.35 health. That is so much health. Like, you're gonna have stacks of it. Like, it's insane how much health that actually is. And the fact that he makes 2 of the 7 natural orbs just matching all the time is so freaking useful, right? And also the fact he makes yellow and purple orbs matching means that Capone himself will never have a negative orb, unless if it is a block orb, of course. But this is really good, right? Because with a character like Treasure Map Boa Hancock, if you are using that on this team, she has the ability of changing your captain's int or psi orb to the opposite one. So if you are left in the situation where you have to just have a psi orb on Capone, it doesn't matter, because it's going to be counted as beneficial, so that's really good. But then he has an added effect as well, where he says if 6 shooter characters are on your crew, you'll heal your crew by 0.5 times his recovery for every perfect you hit at the end of the turn. So that's one of the great things about this character, is not only you do have a pretty sizable attack boost all the time, 2 of the 7 natural orbs are matching, a pretty sizable health pool, but he has inbuilt healing mechanics as well every time you hit a perfect. And this works so well with his special ability, because as we said before, he does reduce your crew's health when you activate his special. So once you do that and you don't have a way to heal very effectively, you have his captain effect to do that, which is really nice. So in terms of his captain effect, or his special ability, my bad, maxing out at 16 turns, he does not reduce his cooldown with his limit break, which is unfortunate, but 16 turns, he will go ahead and double shooter character's attack for 1 turn. So straight off the bat, he gives you a 2 times attack boost, which is awesome. It's always so good, and I've said this in many videos before, when the captain is his crew zone type booster, it is so useful to have, and it makes so much more difference when you have a captain that can do that. It frees up so much space on your crew to put other characters. Big fan of that straight off the bat. Then he says if there are 6 crew members available when you activate the special, cuts your crew's health by 85%, and he becomes Big Father with the HP that you lost when you activated the special. So, you know, if you start off with 100,000 health and you cut your health by 85%, that means you'll only have, like, what, 15,000 health? And then the health that was cut from your crew, so in that situation, it would be the 85,000 health. that becomes the Big Father's health bar, and all of your crew members go inside Big Father, and you'll be able to just sit in Big Father. And what happens when you're in that situation is that your characters cannot be blown away. I think it says it here. It says, until the end of the turn, when Big Father's HP goes down to 0, crew cannot be blown away, you receive no damage, and characters will not become Big Father if you are obviously, you know, not the captain. You have to be the captain to get the Big Father effect. And also when you're in Big Father, you cannot activate any other captain action. So in a hypothetical situation, I don't know why you would do this, but you know, if you had Capone with, let's say, like I don't know, version 1 Sanji with his jumping effect, you can't activate, you know, version 1 Sanji or Capone. Or a better situation would be like Legend Frankie. With Legend Frankie, you cannot use his captain action to become the General Frankie, and also use the Big Father effect. You cannot do that. So it's just something to put out there. You know, you just got to make sure you don't use the effects in the wrong order or something. So the thing about this as well, right? The Big Father is so freaking OP because, to my knowledge, I believe that while you're in this Big Father state, you do not take any damage from burn. I believe the Big Father health bar takes the damage for you, and I think poison maybe as well. I'm not 100% on the poison. I know burn does 100%. You can tank all burn damage with Capone, but I don't think you can take poison. You might be able to. Don't know the full confirmation of that as well. But it says, once you have Big Father active, swap captains cannot work, tandems cannot work, and certain captain actions also cannot work as well. So that's something to put out there, that, you know, you can't do switching effects like, you know, Wipe It and Marco and stuff like that. But either way, man, Capone is a beast, man. That Big Father effect is so crazy, allowing you to have Big Father tank the damage for you. You know, if there's like a death hit, right, you could actually go ahead and use your Big Father, have that take the death hit for you, and then your Big Father will just dissipate and you'll be alright, and you'll be able to move on, or, you know, complete the dungeon. In terms of his crewmate effects, his first one is going to give you 50 base stats to shooters, and his secondary one will make Sign Int beneficial to shooters. That's amazing as a sub. As a sub, providing 2 of the matching orbs is freaking sick. And also for his potential abilities, he has critical hit chance of 70% chance of 8% extra damage. He also has a slot bind reduction of 10 turns, would have been so good if it was completely resisting it. And he also has barrier penetration, of course, completely going through all barriers once you max it out. So there's not much left to say here. I mean, Capone, in my personal opinion, is one of the better legends in the game right now. Shooters have very, very good units now on Global with, you know, 6+ V2 Lucci. We have now Limited Rare Recruit Usopp's coming straight after this, and he is also very useful to have. We've got, you know, Limited Rare Recruit Doflamingo, and we have this entire batch. There's lots of good characters, you know, that are coming out. And also even like freaking Legend Zephyr, who's coming out with Bins and Iron, and I believe both of those are shooters as well, which continuously support the shooters at meta coming through. So lots of good stuff to look forward to, man. And I'll definitely be doing pulls on this Sugo-Fest, so make sure to look forward to that. One thing that I, you know, kind of realized though, is the fact that on the Sugo-Fest, right, if you go to the Sugo-Fest information, it says that if you pull Capone, he comes with 100 HP and 100 attack. Where when you read what he does, he's a healing unit as a captain. If I had Capone, I would honestly be tempted to give him recovery candies, but the fact that he comes with guaranteed 100 HP, 100 attack, I mean, it doesn't matter that much, in my opinion. It doesn't matter that much, but like, it is something to, you know, just talk about, right? It is something to put out there to, you know, say to you guys that yes, Capone comes with 100 attack, 100 HP. You can't put recovery on him, so you know, it is what it is. If you don't want to give him HP, or if you are really adamant about giving him recovery, you might want to skip the Sugo-Fest just because of the cotton candies. But either way, I want to put it out to you guys. I still want to get my hands on Capone no matter what. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.